the main important part is honestly your partner, the team, and the people that your brand mean nothing if you don't have this down pat, if you don't have the people who are willing to take the steps with you one by one. This is the most important part. Second, the clarity, the being clear from the start is very important because what's in it for you, what's in it for me, what's our attention in here, what's our intention, and I sometimes still talk to my people and say, this is what's happened. We have a new partner could potentially be here, be transparent and say, all right, you tell me what you want out of this because I need to know as soon as possible so we can make a decision together and nobody miss out.
This episode is proudly brought to you by Mapper Forward's workshop. It's time to become a coffee consultant. Learn how to diversify your revenue streams and create freedom from your day job while saying goodbye to that alarm clock forever by becoming a consultant within the coffee industry or directly to consumers who have shifted towards home brewing and home roasting. Protect your income from challenging times in the coffee value chain by taking this course today. Go to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of a 5-part series with Nawar Adra from Stitch Coffee, and we're talking about exploring what it is to run a company across borders. So Nawar has taken Stitch from Australia, where it was established, and it is now operating in China and in Japan. I have taken 2 companies now from being started in, Elixir was started in Australia, went to America, and it is currently on pause. We will start it up again, but we will base it here in Dubai in probably 2026. Mapper Forward was born in America. Then during the pandemic, I moved back to Australia. And now Mapper Forward is a registered company here in the UAE. So between both Nawar and I, we have a lot of experience in a lot of the challenges that it takes to take these brands and grow them and sometimes prematurely expand them, but other times not. And when I say sometimes prematurely, that was me. I took brand. I tried to take Elixir to America, in my opinion, too quickly, but we had to work on it that quickly because it was the first brand to market in a whole new category. So there are mitigating factors, learnt a lot, etc., etc. In this episode of this series, we're going to really dig deep into the challenges in getting things off the ground and moving to a foreign country. And Nawar and I are going to start this episode with an experience that happened with me. Everything that I'm about to tell you is from my perspective and in my opinion, and there won't be any names mentioned. But Nawar walked this with me because when Nawar and I came here to the UAE, we came together for the first time and there was no expectation. I did not have it in my mind that I would be moving here. We came here for an expo event and I came here after somebody had planted the suggestion for me to come here. And I was thrilled that this person, I'm actually quite nervous talking about this. I was thrilled that that person saw me and believed in what I was doing. And I was very flattered that that person had done that. And I thought that that person was doing that because they really believed in me and in Map It Forward, only to find out later that that person had sent a message the very first day that they had met me in Australia months before, telling this other person that they just met the person that was going to make them rich. I didn't find that out for more than a year later. In the process, I felt like a crazy woman because this person who I had come to trust, this person who I had believed in, this person that Nawar warned me I was making a mistake. He was the person who said to me, sis, you want to slow down with this. I don't think you're looking at everything the right way that you need to be looking at it. Perhaps there's some red flags, etc., etc. I trusted this person and believed that they had my best interests at heart, and only to find out later that from the very first day that they met me, they saw me as a meal ticket. And I was enamored with this person, thinking that because I had, just come out of America, it was the end of the pandemic, I made a mistake. And one of the challenges in moving your business is figuring out who the right people are. I already had the right people. I had Nawar standing there saying, you're better than this. And it was hard for my people to watch me go through this, because after this, I couldn't trust myself about anything. It is so important that if you are thinking about doing this, that before you take your business anywhere, that you're the first person that you trust. And secondarily, that you have built the identity of your brand so much that the people that are already involved in it, you trust them enough to do what Nawar had done for me and my other people had done for me. Shout out to Angelo and Alana and all of my people that had grabbed me by the ear and said, what the fuck are you doing? So that when you do go into a new environment, everything is so fucking great. It feels so good and everything's new and everybody loves you because you've built something that everybody already likes outside of here, and you're a breath of fresh air that's coming inside of here into this new country. And then you find out the reality that you were being manipulated, in my opinion, the whole time. It doesn't mean that the person didn't believe in you. It just means that they were getting involved so that they could figure out what they were going to take from you, not what they could build with you. And you believe their bullshit. And that for me was, I think, the biggest challenge. And I'm eternally grateful that I learned that lesson when I learned that lesson, because, this is a place that's filled with people who are trying to manipulate you and take advantage of you. There is plenty of opportunities here for people who are building good businesses, but this attracts a bunch of people who want to, particularly marketing people, right? It attracts people who want to be able to do the shiny thing. So after this experience, I was able to see those manipulative people when they turned up, and they have turned up. And, it's something that I consider you a trusted and close advisor for my business. And so I will often pick up the phone and say, this is what happened. And, I think it's another one of those situations. And, we talk it out. If you don't have those people in your business and in your life, don't go into another country, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
It's very, I think, similar thing as I said in a previous episode, where being clear from the start, I think it's very, very important, because you're going to be easily indulged into this new, everywhere you go, it's better than the place that you're in, It's always going to be shiny. It's always going to be new.
Especially a
it's
place like Dubai
in
China and different cities in China.
And I mean, look, not everybody, because you need to be curious and interested. Some people don't really like it because they're not interested in, the new experience. They're like, it's not for me. I'll better go back home and sit and do what I do every day, But people who are curious and enthusiastic and driven and, it's very easy to be a target of other people taken advantage of, because they could see they're willing to do whatever it takes to be part of it. Like, just tell me what you want and I will make it happen.
I'll make it
that's,
happen.
So it's easy for them to kind of like grab us and do what we need to do. But the main important part is honestly, your partner, the team, and the people that your brand mean nothing if you don't have this down pat, if you don't have the people who are willing to take the steps with you one by one. This is the most important part. Second, the clarity, the being clear from the start is very important, because you know what's in it for you, what's in it for me, what's our attention in here, what's our intention, and you know, sometimes I still talk to my people and say, this is what's happened. We have a new partner could potentially be here. Be transparent and say, all right, you tell me what you want out of this, because I need to know as soon as possible so we can make a decision together and nobody miss out. You know, so you really need to have those hard conversations from the beginning, after learning some lesson of communicate as clearly as you can from the start rather than later.
Well, I need to say something on that clarity, because especially when you're going into different cultures, when you are talking about something and you're saying it as clearly as what you think you're saying it, you have to understand that what you're saying in one culture may not mean the same thing in a different culture. It does not translate. Yeah. So I thought as many times as during my experience that I was having, I would communicate stuff with you and I would say, but I said this and I said this and I said this and I said this, and it still went to shit. What I wasn't realizing at the time is that the person who was dealing with me, it was ingrained in their culture. It was being manipulative is an acceptable part. They come from a third world country. And it was like treating people this way from that person's culture was completely acceptable. Regardless of the boundaries that I had set. You watched all of it happen. I had set boundaries, we had contracts, blah, 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 blah. And no matter what happened, as clearly as I tried to communicate, what I didn't anticipate was that every time that person told me that they understood what I was saying, how could I have known that they didn't understand what I was saying because I didn't have their cultural perspective?
So yeah, culture is number one, and you need to have a partner that also can or is living in the city, and like they are from that culture, but
they understand inherently.
And they also live in the place that you live, which is perfect, because that person have two perspectives. They know that what an Australian way of doing business, and they understand how to do business in China, you know? So look, not every day you're going to meet those people, but if you do, you're lucky, you know? We are lucky. It's not every day I will find someone who live in Sydney, but also have all these amazing stuff happening in China. Right. So very tricky, but I didn't look at it, how much money they have and how much money I'm going to make out of them, rather than let's go see what happened, you know, let's figure it out together as we progress. So the trust is important, but 100%, don't go too crazy. Don't get too much
into too quick.
It that without knowing your goals, how you do it, like leave a little bit of mystery somewhere. So people, you know, you're not expressing yourself on every level and
listen to the people that are telling you. Like the number of times that you said to me, hey sis, I think that you're going too fast. Or hey sis, I think that you're trusting the wrong people or whatever. I would be like, no, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah.
Yeah, you just need to be aware. Listen more.
Listen to the people who are your trusted advisors, because they're seeing things. You're drunk on happiness when you're doing this. Everything's exciting. You know, going in level-headed is not something that is, I don't think that's a reasonable expectation of someone who's doing something new. And that's why you have people around you that you can trust to say, hey, Lee, are you sure this is, I know you and I know the way that you are, and something's not right here. And it's important.
100%.
If you can't have those people around you, it's not the right time.
100%. So you really need to be uh, um, ready also, because you're not going to get 100% anyway. You
No.
just need to make sure that you can take the hit as well and keep moving forward and having
Say more.
the right team.
Say more about
Yeah.
taking the hit.
Taking a hit, like, whatever happened to you, but you didn't say, nah, I quit, or I don't want to do this anymore, or anything like that. There's a lot of mistakes happen in those festivals, for example. You can't just say, nah, I don't want to do this. First you have to go and say, okay, we've taken a hit. This is my feedback. This is what I think we should do better. Can we do it? Okay, we make it happen. You really need to, you can't give up. You can't be one hit wonder either. You can't just say, we had an amazing, fantastic event and that's it. No, you have to keep going. You have to make sure the second event, because the second event might be very shit and it's not going to work your way, but what are you going to do right now? Let go? No, you have to go and say, okay, what's the third event needs to look like? How do we, you need to be able to be persistence driven and like anything else, and know it's part of yes,
Right.
So, the first time everybody going to say no, or no, it's not going to work, but you just have to keep going,
And starting your business in the country that you establish your business is where you should be cultivating these skills, so that when you're expanding your business into the next country, you're not learning these things for the first time.
Yes, correct. 100%. And you have a diverse team, I think is the rule.
What was the biggest challenge that you think that you have experienced in this process so far?
The biggest challenge is really being able to find the people who understood a lot about coffee, because specialty coffee is so niche. You're either going to get too much passion, or you're going to get people who just don't care about anything else but making shots.
Yeah.
So, it's very tricky, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to get the superstar, or you're going to get the person that's just I'm here just to do shots, or I'm here just to do something. But to get somebody who knows it all, they exist, but they're not easy to, to find. It's like, and they do cost a lot of money to be able to acquire their skills. So that's very, very challenging to find everything you want so easily, so you really need to work through it.
What did you learn about yourself so far? Like, was any of that a challenge?
I'm still young, I think, I was like, damn, man, I still can do 13 hours in this. I'm not bad. I could do shots. I could do things no one else could do. Yay. What I learned, I think being able to continue and to finish the race, actually, that's the most important part. Because sometimes in other culture, it's okay to open 15 minutes later, it's fine, it's raining, no one's around. It's okay. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it, maybe, but I'm husband, man. I'm like, you have to be there on time. There's no mucking around here, but to be able to swallow it and just like, what, keep rolling, finish the race, gonna be okay.
It's maybe a little bit messy, but we got to the finish line.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You have to, it's not a store. There's water everywhere, there's mud and, whatever. So you just have to learn how to continue until the end. You have to finish the race, as simple as it gets. And then you work around the next steps, or you either say it's for me or not for you afterwards. But once in the race, that's it. You come back up, or back down, I think.
What have you, as we wrap up this episode, I want to ask you, what challenges have you witnessed? A lot of our friends have opened brands in different countries, right? What is the
timing?
Tell me more.
Timing. So a lot of companies, like, when you talk about China, what I see is not now. I see I have to survive 7 years in China without making money, because this is where where, you just timing. A lot of company went there too early. Everybody who was there 6-7 years ago, there was a lot of Australian brand there 6-7 years ago, Campos, some other one. The timing wasn't the right time. That doesn't mean they failed, but also they mean they didn't really integrate into the society, There's a lot of people who saying that if I send my coffee and I'm here in Australia, it's going to be okay. No, man, you have to leave everything and be there. Like I've got, now I've got, let's say I have a 5 years visa right now to go to China. So, which mean, sometimes if I have to spend 3 months there, I have to work it out. I have to find a way for me to be there for 3 months and to do what I need to do. It's a new baby, it's a new,
exactly.
It requires another support, so you can't just say, nah, I'm just going to send you my coffee because it's good enough. No.
That's not how business works, folks.
they
maybe for big corporations.
Yeah. But maybe if you have tons of money, maybe you can manage it. But yeah, if you don't, so you have to be there.
Join us for the final episode in this series where we're going to be talking specifically about adapting a brand to a new culture. And this will be very interesting for Stitch. I'm keen to hear more about this. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon, and stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.